had filed a habeas corpus on the 2nd of October, which came on hearing on 6th. And in that, the prayers were that he should be released unconditionally, and for that we have to know how his health is right now, and also to be supplied with the grounds of detention on which he was taken. So we got, because it was already 10 days, and we had not received the grounds of detention, though Sonam was given on 29th of September. So based on that Supreme Court order, we got the grounds of detention on 7th October. And after that, we were to, file both a representation to the Government and Advisory Board challenging those grounds of detention, and also a petition to amend the habeas corpus to include, now that we had got the grounds of detention, and also our challenge to those. So that was filed today. We have challenged those grounds of detention because we have amended the habeas corpus petition to also now include challenging of the detention order. And the Honorable Supreme Court has taken cognizance of it, and they have accepted our petition, and they have asked the Government of India to respond to that within 10 days. Then we will be given 7 days to reply to that, and the matter would come up on 24th November, hopefully for final arguments and hearing.
So this 10 days are really crucial and important, and next hearing is, as you have already said, on 24th. So it's less than a month in the time for the next hearing. Mr. Sardar is with you. So now what's your next agenda? Is there any planning which you can share with us?
No, right now we will be waiting for their response, which in 10 days, and then if it has to be contested, we will do that. So now we have to wait. The ball is in their court.
Okay. And one more thing I want to ask. The detention was dependent on the stale FIR, which everybody was aware, over a year ago, in which Mr. Wangchuk's name was even not mentioned. So how do you look into it?
Yeah, so the whole detention order is based on some 10 or 11 videos and 5 FIRs. So 5 FIRs, of them 4 are on other people, not even on Sonam Wangchuk, who are alleged to be his supporters or whatever. But they are random people, and he even doesn't know them. And the one FIR that is on his name is also about 2 months old and pertains to things in 24. And for that he wasn't even arrested. So the FIRs don't even make sense in this context, as basis for detaining somebody. And secondly, the 10 videos that have been given, some of them are 1.5 years old. And none of them are on that day before the incident happened. So there's no way to prove that any of his talks incited it. The videos that have been given, the ones before 24th September, are on September 10th and 11th. And the videos of 24th September that they have given are at 5 p.m. post the event. So none of these videos can be taken as the cause for the violence that erupted.
Exactly the same thing I want to ask. That Gen Z protest in Nepal, that one word and that timeline.
Yeah, so and that too was at 5 p.m. after it had happened. The news and ANI was there, and some other media channels were there, and they asked him that, do you think this could have been inspired, by the Gen Z kind of Nepal kind of protest? They asked him. And Sonam is the kind of person who never uses the Gen Z and millennial kinds of words. So when this question was asked, he says, I don't know. You can hear it in this video. He says, I don't know, but it is something which is unprecedented, which has never happened before, and I hope will never happen again. But he said that, of course, the youth were frustrated and disappointed in Ladakh because they were not getting employment, which the government had promised after UT formation. their sixth schedule and the statehood talks were going on, getting delayed. So there was a frustration which came out, he said. But he never used that Gen Z kind of protest that he instigated, which the media has made it out to be. And they have put it all together like Arab Spring and Gen Z. But the gap between these two videos is about, several months. This Arab Spring was mentioned again in a context. He started, so in May, when the talks were not as successful with the MHA, because they went for statehood and sixth schedule talks, but they just spoke about some domicile. So Sonam was trying to explain in his weekly podcast to the Ladakhis and the people there that this is not called a successful talk, because we didn't even come to the matter at hand. And he says, but don't think that statehood is an easy thing you will get. Then he gave the example that look at Mahatma Gandhi. Britishers didn't want us to give freedom, but he went to jail, he fasted, he did all kinds of things. Similarly, he gave the example of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, that Poti Sri Ramalu also had to fast for 55 days and he, I think, died on the 55th day. And that's when state came about. So it's not an easy thing. And he says, but if somebody's life has to be given, it will be my life. And he says, but you may wonder how one person's life can change. And that's when he said that in Tunisia, there was not even an intellectual, educated person, one vegetable seller, Bouazizi, who caused the governments in 6 countries to be changed. So one person can do it, he says. But just after this sentence, he's saying, but we don't have to go in these violent ways. If we all stick together and with these peaceful ways, we can achieve what we want. And if at all somebody's life has to go, it should be my life. But in the detention order, they have said he's calling for Ladakhis to self-immolate. He's never asked others to self-immolate. And even for himself, he says he would do a unshan up, unto death. So these are some kind of mangled ways in which they have tried to taken his words out of context, wrongly translated them. Like even if you see the detention order, some parts of his videos are translated. Then just after that, they paraphrase it. He further said that, So it's not his words. They are putting words into his mouth that he further said that and they're putting something else in it.
But what's the exact confusion? That one sentence was confusion, or Ladakhis are confused, or government? What is this?
Nobody was confused. They are deliberately creating a smoke screen. See, for the last 1 year, their IT trolls are trying to show him as a Pakistani agent, as a Chinese agent. But there is not a mention about Pakistan in this detention order. There was so much, the smoke screen they created. Okay, but they found nothing. Similarly, they sent CBI, IT department was after us. But they didn't find anything, financial irregularities. So they could not find anything. They were coming to see some problem. If they found, they would make it out of context. But even though they did not find anything, they were using it just because he went for a trip to Pakistan, Pakistani agent. But if that were true, then they should have mentioned it in the detention order. There is no Pakistani angle at all in the detention order.
Exactly. As you mentioned that Pakistani agent or Chinese agent, then he was the person who always used make in India or avoid Chinese
products
and everything. How it is possible? How
exactly.
You want to explain it?
No, he always believes in indigenous knowledge systems. He believes in India should come up. When Mr. Modi was talking about Make in India, we were talking one step further about design in India. We should not just become the world's manufacturing hub, We should also design our own products and come up with our own products. So we were talking of designing, making in India. So such a person cannot be anti-national in any way and cannot be a security threat to anybody. Then there is a mention of how he is about Hindu gods and goddesses, So if he did not respect Hinduism, he would not marry me. I am not just a practicing Hindu. I teach Vedas, Upanishads and the Gita in the light of Sri Aurobindo. And he is my student in most of my sessions. So he has a lot of respect for Hinduism, for Sanskrit, In fact, for any philosophy which is deeper and which gives a deeper view of life. So,
as you have mentioned that you are Hindu and everything, then I just want to ask, as a wife, that how is Wangchuk sir now? I really want to know what's your emotion, because you are a fighter, you are a warrior. The way you are fighting for him is really marvelous.
So when we did not expect that he would be suddenly detained, though there were rumors. But on 26th, when I first heard at 4 p.m. when the police called me, so I was at a loss of words, because he hadn't told me this is the plan B or plan A and this is what you should do when this happens. So they were targeting Hayal, they were targeting him, there were a lot of character assassination of him, there were a lot of wrong false allegations about Hayal. And we hadn't discussed that what I should do. But I followed my instinct and my wisdom, both as a wife and as the founder of the institutions that he had given his life and we both had built together. And I started, talking to the media and putting forth our side of the story. Because what the government at Ladakh had managed to do was they were going on releasing press release after press release, doing press conference after press conference, saying Hayal is doing this and it has so many accounts and Sonam is anti-national, all of that. And they were not allowing us to speak because the internet was down. We could not defend ourselves and no media was allowed to come to the university to meet me. So when I came out and did a press conference in Delhi, that's when it all changed. But the good part is, what I'm happy about, is after 11 days, when I met Sonam on 7th of October, and by then he had known because his brother had also met him. So he told me that what you've done and what they told me is exactly what I was wishing that you would do. So though we were not talking at all for 11 days, but we were exactly in sync about how to handle the situation. And even this representation, the handwritten notes that he had given me, I had made a representation to be given to him, so because he did not have access to references or videos and all, which I had to do, and a lot of other things. So they did not tell him that I have sent the representation, and they did not tell me that he has sent the representation. So on 21st, both of us sent separately the representation. Okay, but when we met on 24th, and I brought mine and he brought his, and we saw, it was 90%, it was overlapping. And whatever was missing in his was covered in mine. So as a life partner, I would say that these are the times when your real understanding with one another and respect for each other shows. Because if your methods and your approaches align, even when you are not talking to each other or consulting, it means that somewhere you are aligned in your approach and thought process, and that makes me very happy that we are completely aligned in the way we are handling it, and he completely respects the way that I have taken it forward, and I completely respect the way he is conducting himself. He's staying strong and resilient, and so that's giving me strength, and seeing me do whatever I am doing gives him strength. So
you was part of advisory board also.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to know that experience also.
No, it was very nicely done by Sonam. He had gone through it in depth, and he had made detailed notes which he shared. And whatever he did not have, because I could anticipate that what he will not have access to, that I had carried with me. So with the both of us there, we could give a complete, response to his grounds of detention at the advisory board. And I am sure that the members of the advisory board, as well as the judges in the Supreme Court, when they are alone and they ask their conscience, they will know that they have detained an innocent person. Not just every Indian who knows in his heart, not even all the media houses who know in their hearts, but even the judges and the advisory board members know that he is an asset to the nation. He has been working all his life, to improve the education of this country, to bring in a culture of innovation. And I'm sure that after all this, truth shall definitely prevail, and the country will see it.
As you have said, Sonamji always fought for Ladakhis and Ladakh. Now he is not at Ladakh. So what message you want to convey to the Ladakhis? Because definitely they must miss him. They had lots of emotion for him. So what message you want to convey?
They have, so every time I meet him, I convey my, whatever Sonam has conveyed to me, to everybody. He asks about everybody at Hayala organization. He asks about a lot of our friends, family, and people who are standing for us and showing support and solidarity. And I convey his messages to everybody. And to the people of Ladakh, and to the people of India, because from everywhere we have support coming in, and internationally also. I would like to really, with folded hands, thank everybody who's stood with us with a lot of support and solidarity, and I want to assure them that I will not rest till Sonam has been freed.
One last question. I just want to know the entire timeline in last 1.5 months in just short, just so that everybody should know what happened exactly from start to till today.
So 10th is when the unction started. It was to go on for 35 days. The anger of the youth, the cause of it was when the MHA gave the date for talks very late, which was October 6th. And in the meantime, 2 people fell sick, old people, and they had to be hospitalized. So that's when the protest, peaceful protest, was announced on 24th September. Now, it was going on well, the 24th September, but the CRPF came down very heavily, unnecessarily. They opened tear gas, and when they could have used water, cannons and other things, they used bullets instead. And instead of shooting them in their legs or somewhere, they shot them in their head and hearts, and that took it out of control, and people were already very frustrated. And that's when Sonam, when gunshots were being heard next to him, he had the courage to stand up there and call off the unction, because he said this is what had happened. Was not what he had expected, and his Gandhian ways had failed. But within 2 days, he was detained because the government conveniently put the blame on him. And he got this detention order on 29th, but he's inside the jail. He can neither give it to anybody, nor can anything happen, on that front. So on 1st October, I had already by then come to Delhi and had done a press conference here, because in Ladakh I was almost like under house arrest. They did not let me go out. They would question. They would not let media to come in. So I reached on 1st. I reached on 29th, and 30th I did my press conference, and 1st I wrote the representation to the President of India, and I'm thankful to Vivek Kankhaji, who helped and strategize the whole thing and guide us in the way forward. And on 2nd, we filed the Supreme Court Habeas Corpus petition. On the 6th, it came out for hearing, and we got the order that we could get the grounds of detention and we could meet him personally, and on 7th I met him, took the grounds of detention. Then 11th, when I met him, he had written the handwritten notes, but they refused to give it to me. Because even though we can help as outsiders, but he's the one who had to give us the facts. So on 15th, we again told the Supreme Court that data sharing has to happen between us. So Supreme Court gave the order to get the notes. So on 16th, I got them. In the meantime, he had got the letter, that advisory board letter, on the 10th, and he had to submit it by the 17th. But because I got the notes only on 16th, we took a 4-day extension for that, and on 21st we had to file it. And as I have told you before, that both of us were kept in the dark, and we were parallelly writing it. And we submitted it on 21st first, but then 4 major videos that the detention order relies upon had not been given to him up till 23rd. So this is a major procedural lapse, and it the detention order is incomplete. And based on this very thing, the whole detention can be quashed in the Supreme Court. This is a major procedural lapse. So he kept asking for it, I kept asking for it, but they didn't give it to us until 23rd October, just a day before the advisory report. So that happened, and then today, then we had to file the reply, the amendment petition, which we did yesterday. So today the thing has come up, and we are waiting for the next 10 days for their counter, which we will counter, and then on 24th November, I hope it will get disposed of before 24th by the advisory board. In any case, I am a follower of Sri Aurobindo, and 24th November is a very important date, the Siddhi Day, which is celebrated in the ashram. So it's a very auspicious day, and I think on that day or before that, this detention will be considered illegal and quashed, and truth shall prevail, and it must prevail. Thank you.
जानकारी दी है सुप्रीम कोर्ट के बारे में. Then they got 10 days reply देने के लिए, and next hearing जो है वो 24th November को. So what's your next week?
अभी तो हम वेट करेंगे कि वो क्या इसका काउंटर करते हैं, क्योंकि हमने उनके डिटेंशन ऑर्डर और ग्राउंड्स ऑफ डिटेंशन को चैलेंज किया है, क्योंकि उनका जो ग्राउंड्स ऑफ डिटेंशन है वो 10-12 वीडियोस पे और 5 एफआईआर्स पे बेस्ड है, जो कि बिल्कुल बेसलेस है. क्योंकि जो 5 के 5 एफआईआर्स हैं वो स्टेल हैं. 4 तो सोनम के नाम के भी नहीं है, किसी और के नाम पे हैं, और एक जो सोनम के नाम पे है उसमें वो भी पुराना है, उसमें ना उनको अरेस्ट किया गया था ना कुछ. तो वो तो फॉर्म ही नहीं करता डिटेंशन ऑर्डर के लिए, ग्राउंड्स ऑफ डिटेंशन. और जो 10 वीडियोस भी हैं वो भी पिछले 1.5 सालों के हैं, जिसमें कि उन्होंने कुछ ना कुछ लोगों को समझाया है, या फिर उन्होंने किसी और के कोर्ट को चैलेंज किया है, और जिसके कोर्ट को उन्होंने डिनाई किया है वो उनका कोर्ट बना के कहा जा रहा है. जैसे एक एग्जांपल मैं अगर लूं तो किसी ने कहा था कि जैसे अगर गवर्नमेंट यहाँ पर हमें 6 शेड्यूल नहीं देगी तो जैसे बांग्लादेश और नेपाल और श्रीलंका में हुआ है तो यहाँ भी हम वैसे ही करेंगे. तो सोनम ने अपने वीडियो में उसको कोट करते हुए कहा कि किसी ने ऐसा कहा है, लेकिन हम ऐसा नहीं करेंगे, हम पीसफुल मेथड से करेंगे. तो जो वीडियो उन्होंने रेफर किया है उसमें ये भी नहीं कहा कि किसी ने कहा जो सोनम कोट कर रहे हैं, और फिर सोनम ने कहा है कि हम ऐसा नहीं करेंगे. तो फिर ऐसे लगता है कि जैसे ये नेपाल बांग्लादेश का एग्जाम्पल सोनम दे रहे हैं और सबको कह रहे हैं कि हम भी ऐसा ही करें. तो ये सारी की सारी वीडियोस ऐसे ही गलत ट्रांसलेशन की हुई हैं और वर्ड्स को मिक्सअप किया गया है. और जैसे सोनम ने कहा है कि आर्मी जो है वो अगर 6 शेड्यूल नहीं होगा तो आर्मी डिमोटिवेट हो सकती है, और लद्दाख एक सेंसिटिव एरिया है, वहां आर्मी को डिमोटिवेट हमें नहीं होना चाहिए. और वो आर्मी को कहते हैं कि आप लोग इसको एक गवर्नमेंट के साथ जैसे हम फाइट कर रहे हैं वैसा देखिए, भारत माता के लिए नहीं. हमारी डिफरेंसेस पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से हो सकती है, पर भारत माता के लिए हम उसी पैशन के साथ लड़ेंगे। तो इसको भी मिसकोट किया गया है कि सोनम इंडियन आर्मी को डिमोटिवेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, जबकि सोनम इंडियन आर्मी के लिए खुद सोलर हीटेड घर बनाते हैं। हर आर्मी के जो कोर कमांडर हैं वो पहले हमारे कैंपस में आते हैं और हम उनके लिए, उन सोल्जर से लेके ऑफिसर्स के लिए हम गर्म शेल्टर्स बना के देते हैं। तो वो ही सोनम क्यों इंडियन आर्मी को डिमोटिवेट करेंगे? तो ऐसे ही सारे उनके आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट जो लिए गए हैं। तो ये हमने पॉइंट बाय पॉइंट 250 से 300 पेज की हमारी रिप्रेजेंटेशन पेटिशन जो है सारे एनेक्शियर्स को लेके हमने इसको रिफ्यूट किया है। और इससे साफ पता चलेगा कि जो सोनम का इंटेंशन था और स्पिरिट था और जो वीडियोस में जो वो कहना चाहते थे उसको मिसप्लेस करके कंफ्यूज करने की कोशिश की गई है।
जैसे आपने मेंशन किया कि मेजर जो उनका डिटेंशन हुआ वो तो लास्ट ईयर जो एफआईआर हुई है उस पर उनका नाम भी नहीं था। देन हाउ इट्स पॉसिबल?
हाँ, तो वो तो सबको अभी दिख जाएगा, क्योंकि अभी तक हमने ये डिटेंशन ऑर्डर पब्लिक नहीं किया था। आज तो क्योंकि कोर्ट में फाइल हो गया है तो सबके पास इसकी कॉपी पहुंच जाएगी, तो सब खुद ही देख लेंगे कि कितना बेसलेस है ये पूरा का पूरा डिटेंशन। मतलब ना मेरिट्स हैं उसमें, ना एफआईआर के कोई मेरिट्स हैं, और इतनी चालाकी की गई है कि जो 4 वीडियोस हैं जिसके बेसिस पे उस दिन उनको डिटेन किया गया, वही वीडियोस उन्होंने 23 तारीख तक दी नहीं, इतनी सारी चिट्ठियां लिखने के बावजूद भी। और जब वो हमने वीडियोस फाइनली जब सोनम को मिली तो जो उन्होंने कहा था कि उन्होंने अनशन साइट से कहा, जेनजी या जो भी है, वो 5 बजे शाम को इंसिडेंट होने के बाद जब किसी मीडिया हाउस ने पूछा कि ये जेनजी टाइप रेवोल्यूशन था, तो सोनम ने बस ये कहा कि मुझे नहीं पता, हो सकता है, पर ना ऐसा पहले कभी हुआ है ना मैं चाहता हूं और ऐसा कभी हो। नो तो ऐसे सब चीजों को मिक्सअप करके एक एंटी नेशनल का और नेशनल थ्रेट पब्लिक सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट प्रूव करने के लिए ऐसे सब मिक्सअप करके इन्फ्लेमेटरी आपको लगेगा।
मैम, व्हाट्स योर नेक्स्ट डे? 24 नवंबर, ऑलमोस्ट मंथ बचा है आपके पास, सो कैन यू जस्ट शेयर लिटिल विद अस? आई नो इट मस्ट बी कॉन्फिडेंशियल, बट
नहीं 10 दिन का तो वेट करेंगे कि ये क्या रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं। तो वैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करने को कुछ है नहीं, लेकिन अगर भी कुछ किया तो फिर हम उसका रिप्लाई देंगे। और इन 10 दिनों में तो हम हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट में जो कोर्सेज चल रहे हैं उस पर ध्यान देंगे, और बाकी जो इन्होंने एलिगेशंस लगाई हैं और जो सब किया है उस पे हम एक्शन लेंगे।
वांगचुक सर अभी कैसे हैं? आप उनसे कब मिले थे एंड व्हाट डिड ही से टू यू?
हाँ, वो तो 15 दिन फास्टिंग के बाद उनको ले गया था, तो वो थोड़े वीक तो पहले ही थे, पर वो बहुत स्ट्रांगली इसको झेल रहे हैं और बिल्कुल कुछ शिकन नहीं होती उनके चेहरे पे जब मिलते हैं। तो वो और भी उनका रिजोल्यूशन स्ट्रांग हो गया है कि इस कॉज के लिए लड़ना है, क्योंकि एक डेमोक्रेसी में अगर आप किसी के साथ आपकी राय मैच नहीं करती तो आप डायलॉग करते हो, डिस्कशन करते हो, किसी को डिटेन नहीं कर लेते। तो सोनम विल कम बैक एंड कंटिन्यू, ये चीज को वो जारी रखेंगे जब तक लद्दाख को अपना जो सही हक है वो नहीं मिलता।
एज अ वाइफ तो यू आर फाइट कर ही रहे हो, लेकिन आप एडवाइजरी बोर्ड के लिए मिल रहे थे, तो व्हाट वाज योर दैट एक्सपीरियंस?
हाँ, तो वो एडवाइजरी बोर्ड में सोनम और मैं थे और उनकी तरफ से 3 मेंबर्स थे। तो हमारी रिप्रेजेंटेशंस जो हमने बनाई थी वो एक दूसरे से हमें शेयर नहीं करने दी, तो 21 को हमने अलग अलग रिप्रेजेंटेशंस भेजी। तो 24 को हम दोनों अपनी अपनी रिप्रेजेंटेशंस लाए थे, मैं भी और सोनम भी। तो वो दोनों फिर उनको सबमिट किया, और सोनम ने बहुत डिटेल में हर एक जो एलिगेशन है उसको उन्होंने रिफ्यूट किया, और उनके पास कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं था पूछने के लिए, क्योंकि बहुत क्लियर था कि जो सोनम के वर्ड्स हैं उनको गलत ट्रांसलेट किया गया था, और आधा उनका वीडियो फर्स्ट पर्सन में ट्रांसलेटेड और आधा जो है उसको समराइज किया था। और जो समराइज किया था वो जो ट्रांसलेटर था उसने अपना मनगढ़ंत समरी बनाई है उसकी। तो ये सारी चीजें वहां पर पॉइंट आउट की गई। तो और ये जो जेन जी वगैरह का है वो तो साफ साफ बताया गया कि वो तो इवेंट होने के बाद वो भी मीडिया हाउसेस ने पूछा कि ये जेन जी से इंस्पायर्ड है क्या, तो वो तो, लेकिन डिटेंशन ऑर्डर में कहा गया है कि साइट से उन्होंने ये कहा, जैसे कि उन्होंने उनके कहने के बाद ये वायलेंस हुआ, ऐसा पोर्ट्रे किया गया डिटेंशन ऑर्डर। तो ये सब उस दिन क्लैरिफाई हुआ, और मुझे ये यकीन है कि जो मेंबर्स हैं वो जब देखेंगे एविडेंस और अपनी जमीर देखेंगे तो उन्हें ये क्लियर होगा कि ये कोई एंटी नेशनल नहीं है और कोई नेशनल थ्रेट नहीं है सिक्योरिटी के लिए। और मुझे तो पूरा विश्वास है कि सत्यमेव जयते, और जो कि हमारे देश का मतलब मोटो है, वो जरूर सामने आएगा बहुत शीघ्र ही।
मैम वन लास्ट क्वेश्चन, सोनम जी ने हमेशा लद्दाखियों के लिए फाइट की है, ही वाज ऑलवेज इन विद यू, तो आप लद्दाखियों को क्या मैसेज कन्वे करना चाहेंगे, बिकॉज अभी सोनम जी लद्दाख में नहीं है?
तो वो यही कहना चाहेंगे कि अपने हकों के लिए लड़ते रहना चाहिए, और कोई भी डर के सामने झुकना नहीं चाहिए, और जो अपनी यूनिटी है वो कभी भी टूटने नहीं देनी चाहिए। लोग तोड़ने की कोशिश करेंगे, लेकिन एक साथ रह के, जुट रह के, बिना डरे जो अपना हक है उसकी मांग पे अटल रहना जरूरी है, जो कि जिसके लिए उन्होंने अपनी पूरी जिंदगी दी और पिछले 3 साल इतने सारे अनशन किए, तो वो ताकि व्यर्थ न जाए। तो उनके न होने के बावजूद लद्दाखियों को वो जो कॉज के लिए खड़े हुए थे उसको अपने दिलों में लेके आगे बढ़ते रहना चाहिए। और सबके लिए हमारी तरफ से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जो हमारे साथ हैं, लद्दाखीज, भारत के सारे लोग, पूरे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पे बहुत जन जो हमें अपना समर्थन भेजते हैं, और मीडिया भी, और सब जिन्होंने हमारा साथ दिया है, तो सबके लिए हम धन्यवाद कहेंगे। और ये मैं सबको अश्योर करना चाहूंगी कि जब तक जस्टिस नहीं मिलता और सोनम नहीं बाहर निकलते, मैं तो नहीं रुकने वाली हूँ, और मुझे नहीं लगता कोई भी लद्दाखी इसके आगे कुछ भी बात करना चाहेगा। सब इसी चीज का वेट कर रहे हैं, और मुझे फोन करते हैं, पूछते हैं सोनम के बारे में, और सब उस दिन का इंतजार कर रहे हैं जब सोनम फ्री हो जाएंगे और वापस लद्दाख आएंगे।